go left to right. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your company.
Okay, I'm Don Like. I just hope we're not starting here because of age, but that's okay.
Just go left to right.
I understand.
Knowledge, Don.
I
Knowledge
understand.
Wisdom.
I understand.
And wisdom.
That's true. I understand. We have an insurance agency that I founded back in 1960, and it is still alive, same 95 number that I applied for, and it's operating very well. We're located up on Smythe. We have 38 employees, I think, and we're doing quite well.
So I noticed on your website it says 1922 was the founding date. What?
Well, 22. About 25 years ago, we, as a form of buying, we merged with another agency into ours, and that was a B for, we have LBW. The B actually is for Berniger, and the W is for Winnicott. And Berniger and Winnicott was the agency that we were purchasing or merging. And Sid Berniger's father started his agency in 1922. And,
So they got grandfathered in.
yes,
Kinda got
and grandfathered in. That's a good pun. And what happened was we wanted to make sure we kept all the clients. So we, at that point, it was just, Mitzi and I, but at that point, we changed the name to LBW to secure that. And we didn't have anybody in the firm named A, so B was first. So we got the recognition. And so anyway, that's the way LBW came about,
Okay.
as well as in 1922. But I have had people say to me, boy, you look pretty good for your age.
Yeah. So you are the founding generation in the case of your company. Let's see, your second generation.
Yeah.
And how long have you been with the
We
firm?
started the company together.
Okay.
Dad had an agency in the Valley for many years and sold. And then after I finished up with school and went to a insurance company where I did claims work, I decided I didn't want to do that side of the business, the insurance companies and claims work. So I learned what I could on claims and went out to an agency in Westlake and built primarily a commercial book of business. And then in 1982, Dad and I got our corporations together, or actually his corporation and me together, and that's what we were originally like Financial, and then as he's explained, LBW, and that's what we are today.
Yep.
Jeff Green, Douglas Furniture. Business started in 1975. My father started the company when he was 22 years old. Took a lot of guts back then. I'm 35 years old, so I like to joke that I've been working there for 35 years. It's a true family business, so around the dinner table, if business wasn't good, we all knew about it. But if it was good, as everyone can understand here, then we were good. So, but I've been working probably full time now for about 15 years. After college, came back and started working in the business, and business is doing great.
And you're currently in charge.
Yes, I'm the general manager there. Dad still likes to come in. He likes to come in. I have a sister that's involved. Mom comes in too. So it's a true family atmosphere there. Our employees have been working for us for a long time, so they feel like family too.
And how many employees?
I have, there's 10 total. The longest is 26 years now for us. He's our foreman, one of our main drivers. The next is 24. Then my sister, me, and everybody's been there a long time, at least 10 years or more. So it's been a good business.
Great. Well,
Yeah, Ben Griffiths, Brent's Carpet One. My father Brent founded the business in 1979, and always said he was going to sell the business. He always wanted to be out of it. He was in real estate, he was an accountant, it wasn't really his line of work. He got into it with a friend and just kind of things kept going. He built a building, needed the business for the loan, then had a bunch of kids in college for many, many years.
needed the business for the tuition.
Sure. And so, it takes on a life of its own, and but I think when you found the business on good principles, it stays as long as you can keep imbuing those in the new employees. And so I came to work for him shortly after 2000, worked my way up through just about every position in the business, though I have done janitorial and warehouse and all sorts of stuff as a kid.
Probably still do, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that never ends.
That's part of business, right?
Yes, it is. And so Brent's been retired for a few years now, and we just keep doing what he always did.
So how did you decide to get into the family business? Did you have a choice in the matter?
You know, it's a funny story because my dad was always saying he was going to sell, and so all of us planned different life paths. And I was talking to him. I mostly worked sales and management. I was not happy with the current job I had. They promised a lot of things, they weren't delivering it. It turns out he was trying to sell the business, had a deal to sell it, and he was a guarantor on the lease, and they would not release him from being the guarantor. And so the business would have continued under the same name, same employees, same values, but since he couldn't really leave, it wasn't a good deal. And so we were talking one day, and he said, "Why don't you come take over the business?" And you know, the rest is kind of history. It came down and worked with him.
So
for a
no
while.
change of corporate ownership, but change in who's running the show.
Yeah, I think there are some legal changes we made along the way. We still have the same contractor's license number we had when we started. Despite, I think we've had one DBA change when we joined Carpet One, which is a buying group. We had to reorganize it as a corporation so we could transfer stock between generations. Other than those largely clerical changes, it's exactly the same as it was when they set it up.
Same question, how'd you get involved? Was there any question about it? Was there?
Yeah, you know, we were all able to go our own ways, you know. After college, I wanted to get married. You know, I've been dating my high school sweetheart, so needed to make money. So I called Dad and had a business degree and said, I want to make this my life too. And like you know, I started out as a driver when I was in high school and delivering furniture, and before that I used to have to wash the trucks, and so I knew the business. I knew about it.
You've both gone through long apprenticeships.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. It's the only way to do it.
Lifetime.
To appreciate it. I mean, I believe it, you know.
Yep.
You know, to really appreciate it.
And Mitzi, you were a co-founder.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. A lot of people think that I was brought into the business, but because of the way it came about, it's actually, we did it together. So it's kind of unusual, but that is the real deal. So, and I do primarily all the property casualty and the insurance agency. We have a pretty good sized staff, so everybody's got a team, and we work on a lot of businesses. We actually insure the city of Santa Clarita, so we are the insurance agents for them, and we help them educationally as well on the insurance side. And
What do you mean?
what do we mean?
When you say educationally?
Oh, they have employees that we have to go over how certificates are supposed to look when you turn them into the city. So when they go ask all the contractors out there for certificates, they know what they're looking for. And so I do a whole PowerPoint presentation. I have all the employees in the room with their eyeballs on me, going through what certificates are needed for various different contracts that the city gets gets into with everybody in the whole city. So,
Okay.
kind of fun.
The fact that you two started the business together, you didn't come in, Mitzi, as like a generational thing, you know. Do you think the working dynamics were different from the start as opposed to you guys who,
Probably.
I would imagine,
Yeah.
absolutely.
and how's that?
Well, first of all, I don't really think so. I think if you're a business for yourself, whether it's a family business or not, you've got to have a certain amount of work ethic and things like this, or it doesn't work anyway. You wind up, it's not for you, and you go someplace else. But in our case, you know, Mitzi, when she was about 12 or 13, used to come in the office, and she had to wear a skirt then. Back in those days, she sort of winded back, you know, and with filing and things like this. And then, like she says, when she got out of college, she decided to go maybe try the other side of the fence and do the claims. But once we got together, and that came after a stint. That's another thing with me. She had to go out and make money first, and so she did go to work with a cousin of mine. As a matter of fact, out in Westlake Village, he had an insurance agency, so she went
At your behest or on your own initiative?
I went on my own.
on her own, just go make money. And so she worked there with him about 2 years. And built up a very large book of business, and we had it arranged. He knew that one day that she would pick up and leave and everything, and that's when we got together. But even in that, we went 1 year without anything, just a piece of stationery, and did joint calls and things like this. And then we went away and we reviewed every single policy that we had sold, either individually or together, and it was all over. That meeting, I asked her if she wanted to be partner. She said yes. We shook hands. She wanted to know why we wasted a year. And I said, we didn't waste a year. I needed to find out if we were going to fight. And doesn't look like we're going to fight, so let's go. And that was interesting. It was on a June 1st, and we're still on a June 1st calendar. Nothing changed. and here we are. On this. And the other thing was a little bit unusual, because I've had a lot of experience setting up succession arrangements with businesses, you know. And sometimes you do great plans and they never work out for one reason or another. So one of the reasons that they don't work out, I think, is that there's always this, you know, the father owns everything, and then the child's here, and then the child's got to, and somehow how are you going to get the stock over and things like this. So what we did is we just went 50-50 right from the beginning, which was unusual, but you know, it worked for us. We had good confidence in each other. She also worked in another field of the business. Although we supported each other, they were different, so that helped a lot too. So it was better on accountability, and in all things being equal, I don't think I would have changed anything right now.
So you mentioned succession. What are your plans for the next generation, if there's going to be another generation, or what's the plan for the company going forward?
The third generation's in our business now. Both of my boys have joined the business.
Yeah.
Have you had to change the structure at all to?
No.
Well, we are structured, that's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the plan for when you're done?
When I'm done, well, she has a 401k.
He's on the 911 plan.
No, that's right. She's got a 401k and I got 911, so you know. My wife's famous line. But anyway, on that, but no, it all goes to her.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done all the estate planning on that. Factually speaking, we're doing 2% difference, which was done for estate planning.
Mm-hmm. Jeff, what's the plan going forward for Douglas?
You know, there isn't a third generation involved yet. I think there will be. They're still young, you know, for us, so.
How young?
Well, let's see. My sister's oldest is 17, so
Mhm.
she's the oldest, and I have a 5 and 7-year-old. So we'll see.
They haven't made career plans?
No, you know, the 17-year-old's going to college, is about to go to college, and you know, wants to see her own path, I believe.
Sure.
So we kind of want to see what they want to do. I think. I mean, that's what that's what my dad did. We were never forced to be in the business, you know. So we'll see.
Ben?
I have 5 kids. They're all young. I think if you ask them today, they would say they have plans to take over the business.
Okay.
And it's just where life
Is it
takes
like you
We'll
when
see.
you were growing up? They're there all the time?
Well,
or
it's a little
times?
different. Yeah, they do come quite a bit. I mean, I remember spending a lot of time there, even when I was very young, climbing on the carpet racks and riding on the forklift.
She's not here today.
Oh, she's not here today. You know, getting the office donuts or sodas. I mean, there are a lot of times you spend there. My kids do that. They come in, they spend time there, they enjoy it. And they've told me flat out that they want to. My dad was always going to sell it. I have not expressed that opinion. I love our business. I love this community. We want to stay here. So my kids have a greater expectation that will be there when they get older.
Mhm.
And so to me, I think without them having said it per se, it's kind of an expectation that some of them want to be a part of it, and that's kind of fun to look forward to.
So how is business in 2017?
This year's fantastic. It's good. We haven't been able to say that in construction for a long time.
So
It's nice. Last year, about halfway through the year, business started to pick up.
Mhm.
I mean, there is something to be said for a downturn that takes so many years to get through. It's difficult. You go into a lot of your personal resources, you make the business continue. And then when things get better, you have to kind of put things back and be in a conservative state where you have the war chest to be able to help the business if something were to turn around again and the economy were to crash. You can't play it any other way.
Mhm.
And so times are really good, but we also, most of my time in the business has been times that were tough, and so we plan very conservatively.
How far forward can you project that things will continue to be good?
I have no crystal ball. It's been
I mean,
really
your contracts
erratic.
going out,
Yeah, well,
some
yeah,
stuff.
but our contracts take a month, take 2 months for our big commercial contracts. So we're very much a few weeks ahead all the time.
Mhm.
we always have our advertising budgets and all those things are all set a year in advance. We know what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, how it's going to run. But in the last 3 years especially, business and the economy have been very erratic in the home building sphere. And so we track with real estate very closely. And we've had months that were our worst months in a year or multiple years right next to months that were our best months in multiple years. It's very difficult to see where it's going to go month to month. It's been nice for the last year.
Driven by what?
It just depends. A lot of it's industry driven. For example, there was a year where we had interest rates that were down in the mid threes. We had automakers at the same time were giving more than 10% off most of their cars, biggest incentives they'd had ever given in history. And our industry for residential redo lost out because people were putting everything they owned to buy a new home, and they weren't redoing the flooring for a year or 2 or 3 afterwards. And so there are some inter-industry plays that happen. It's not very common, but it does. But those kind of things teach you lessons. And so as we look at an outlook, I think we're always conservative just because we're not used to things being good. It's like, well, waiting for the other shoe to drop. We're used to that dropping, but now we're waiting to see if this is just good and will stay this way.
Jeff, same question. How's business and what do you see going forward?
I would ditto everything he just said to a T. I mean,
So
the
much
previous
better than
years.
last year.
Oh yeah, in fact, best year in the history of the store so far. So best year in the history of the store. So
Same thing, some pent-up demand that was not.
pent up demand. Yeah, people are finally spending money again. We're redoing things. The banks are starting to loan again. Things like that are starting to kickstart everything, I think. But yeah, in talking about going back to the previous years, it was very sporadic for us also. It's interesting hearing you say that because we went through the same thing. We'd have an incredible month and then a terrible month and then an incredible. I mean, it just fluctuated. But this year we've been very consistent, and it's been so far the best year ever. So.
Same question.
Yeah, we're in the insurance business, so obviously there's certain
little
insurance
less-
policies people have to have.
Right.
Yeah.
So
A little bit less cyclical.
we're pretty diversified. We have several departments. So we do life insurance, disability, long-term care. We have employee benefits. We have personal lines. We have commercial. We have financial planning products. So it runs that way. So everybody's had to have employee benefits. We had Obamacare come in, and it's been a lot of hard work, but we've been able to put a lot of employee benefits in firms that didn't have any benefits before, especially larger ones over 100 employees. So with us being diversified and everybody still hitting the pavement all the time, we've been very fortunate that we're diversified enough that we never have a real downturn. And our niche markets, we have several of them. There are 8, 9 niche markets. So if 1 or 2 are maybe not doing so well, like we have a lot of construction clients. So they're all cooking now. So, but there was a time when they weren't. So we had to be selective.
Right.
So,
How would you characterize the Santa Clarita Valley as a place to do business?
no, we love it.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, for a lot of reasons. The San Fernando Valley, where we came from originally, is kind of like this big sea. It's just too big. It's a big elephant. Here, you can come here and you can go to the grocery store and run into people and you know them. I got involved with the hospital. I'm past chair of the Hospital Foundation Board, so I'm still on the board serving for the hospital. We only have one hospital, so we're real big about that. I'm on the EDC board, the Economic Development Corporation board, and that's about bringing jobs to the community. That's something that I wanted to help with because obviously that falls in, kind of parallels our business. So, but to be able to go out to a restaurant or go to the market or go to an event and you get to meet people and there's people you already know. And a lot of people in this community are proud of our community.
Yes.
So, including myself, I like the idea that I can get in my car at my house and be at the office in less than 5 minutes. It makes a big deal. And most of my staff is all within about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I love the Santa Cruz Valley. Besides business, great place to raise a family. The growth here obviously is a direct correlation with us. It's been good, the small town feel, like you said, is nice, but it is also still growing. So
Did you grow up here?
I did. Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
Peachland Elementary,
Okay.
Clarita, and Hart High School.
Okay.
Yeah, went through all three.
Also,
Same. All three schools.
same school?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's-
How apart are you in age?
I'm not sure.
I'm
30
41.
I'm
so
35, so 6
we're
years.
Okay,
6
so you-
years
you
apart.
didn't
You
quite-
probably went to school with Dan, my little brother.
Oh, okay.
Griffiths.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That is a classic small town conversation.
Well, and my
That
sister,
is a
you probably went to
classic,
school
yes.
with my
Which of
sister,
my
Erica
siblings
Green.
did you go to school with?
I
On a
probably did.
slightly
I have
less-
to check. I have to look at a photo.
Yeah.
Slightly
You've
less
never- you've
pleasant.
never been?
No,
Oh.
no, no.
No, I've been in your store.
Yeah,
but-
and I've bought from him too,
Yeah,
so.
so-
Never formally.
but we have employees that
Yeah.
have done the, yeah.
One of the things that comes up with business owners a lot here is the regulatory environment we live in. What's your take on county, state regulation here? Does it hinder your ability to do business? And what would you change if you could change one aspect of it?
This is a loaded question.
Yeah.
I had the thought when you said, how do you like this community if it was in another state? I love California. I mean, I grew up here, but it is a tough regulatory environment. For example, just a few years ago, California instituted a tax. One of the recyclers who recycled carpet was going out of business because the economy crashing. They decided they had to keep that person in business. They started a 5 cent a yard tax for recycling. It then doubled to 10. It doubled again to 20. This year it went up to 25, and it looks like it's going to keep increasing. I think they're targeting another increase this year. Just as a basic thing, I mean, we paid
So when you
taxes
sell
that are very
carpet
difficult.
new, that's
Every
tacked
yard
on
is tacked
theoretically to pay for the
It goes right on the
cost
front of the contract. It's mandated
for
by the state
recycling.
that it's there. There are a number of other taxes we pay here that other people don't. We run a supply house because we have to ensure our installers use the correct supplies. A lot of people that install flooring allow their installers to buy the supplies, and you know what that means. They buy the cheapest supplies they can get. We can't afford to do that. We've been here so long. We're gonna be here so long. I don't wanna replace all those floors because the
before
guys
you
bought
have to, right.
cheap glue or cheap seam tape or things like that that most people don't really think about. But we get assessed taxes because we have a supply house that are arbitrary just because they assume that we're going to be using them under the table or something. And we operate everything above board so that there are no questions. But those kinds of things can be frustrating because they just, I mean, we're here to run a successful business. Our employees depend on us to be able to pay for things like 401k. And those can only happen if the business is doing well. The more the government takes, the less there is to share with our employees, the less employees we can have. And so it is a difficult place. They also legislate what we can and can't use. A number of years ago, for example, the wood finishes, all the hardeners were taken out of the wood finishes in LA County only. And so if you go across county lines, you can buy the wood finishes, but for me to use them is illegal. I have to use a water-based finish. They just don't last as long. So we had to kind of transition our business to go 100% pre-finished in factories where they can use all of those chemicals rather than doing any finishing in homes, because, I mean, we still do it on occasion when there's a flood or there's a problem and they want to just shine up their floors, but the finishes don't last as long. So it presents challenges on a number of levels for us, and we just do the best we can.
So what would be the one that you would abolish if you were put in charge?
Taxes?
That's a big one.
That's a good one.
That's a category.
That's the category.
Jeff?
Again, very similar. Some silly things that we've seen in the past. I mean, there needs to be some regulations. We all agree on that. But there are some silly things. For instance, there's a new mattress recycling fee, right? So we sell mattresses. So, but there's also a California bedding law that prohibits us from putting used mattresses in our trucks, right? Because of bed bugs, right? Which makes sense. You don't want a used mattress next to your brand new mattress, right? So here it is. They're putting this law saying that I have to charge the customer $33 for every mattress I sell for a recycling fee. Not for the mattress they have now, but for the mattress they're buying, right? So we could start contacting companies. They say, oh, well, you have to pick them up. Well, I thought that I wasn't allowed to pick them up. So there's some confusion there, right? Here's 3 different recycling mattress areas, recycling centers that'll take your mattress. So I call all 3. They don't know what I'm talking about. They say, what are you talking about? What is this? I don't take mattresses. All 3 of them. So, there's kind of a miscommunication, I should say, when something gets passed, everybody needs to be involved before it gets running, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things like that have happened.
Where do we start?
Well, when I first entered the insurance business, applications were one page. Of course, if you needed copies, you had to use carbons. You guys don't know what carbons are.
Oh, yeah.
Sure we
used to
do.
churn those things. Absolutely.
But, so now there are pages and pages. A common ordinary life application is something like 37 pages. To make an investment, you need an application for this and an application for the custodian and the whole thing like this. So all of that's changed. And, they do that. Fortunately, though, they invented a little bug that you turn on a machine and it goes into your database and it gets all this information and fills out all the forms and kicks them out. So I guess there's some good there. You've formed another industry on that, so to speak. But the regulations are interesting now. In our field, particularly on the security side, the regulations now, whereas that nobody knows what's happening. There's a very big, gigantic law that passed, gigantic for most people, same thing that I've always done, but they caught up with me. And it's this fiduciary thing, except that now they've got it staged in, but nobody knows the effect of it, nobody knows what you have to do to document it.
And what law is this?
The fiduciary, DOL law. You have to take care of your clients. Basically, that's what it says. As I say, I've been doing it all my life, and now they caught up. And but it's just a classic example now. They've got on suspension parts of it, and that doesn't come due until the law became due April 9th. No, June 9th, I'm sorry. It was put off from April to June, and June the advisory went into effect, but all the things resulting from that, you don't have to do until January. And there's one particular form you're going to have to go forward with to satisfy the law based on the each part of your business. And nobody even has constructed a form yet that I know of. And I had a guy in my office this morning at 10:30. He hadn't seen one either. And he represents principal.
So they're telling you, do this new thing, details to follow.
Yeah, and everybody's waiting to see what happens. And Wall Street Journal, I think yesterday, had the article. They think that they ought to just take a couple of things out and make
it better.
those things first and then go to the others. That's why people know what to do. Nobody knows what to do.
Well, we're waiting for Obamacare to get rescinded, and we're waiting for the new health care, and we don't know anything more than everybody in this room knows, which is, we're just all sitting here.
Yeah.
So on workers' compensation, there were a few new laws that were put in place January 1, having to do with executive officers and who can be excluded or not. They decided California has its own experience mod rating system. The rest of the United States is NCCI. So basically, it's the rest of the United States has a rating system and California. Mm-hmm. So in their infinite wisdom, they ended up, for the third or fourth time over the last 10 years, they decided they're calculating it differently, and everybody's on their own now with a threshold, and it gets all in. It's a whole intense formula that goes through to get an experience mod for businesses, but it happened, and so now what's happening is all the experience mods are distorted. So the insurance carriers know that they're distorted, and they want the business, so they're going to give it credit. They're going to credit premiums to get the business on the book. So that's what we're going through now. So it's kind of fun that way. But at the same time, you've got...
It's more fun for someone in the insurance business.
Yeah, I guess.
We don't enjoy the
But if you're the employer and you got your big mod, you in your head are saying, okay, my mod doubled, so my premiums are going to double, but it's not happening that way. But we have to calm people down and educate, and then we deliver. Mm-hmm. So it's just been different. Workers' comp, they changed how you have to put in first aid claims now. It used to be you could pay them yourself.
How much is education part of what you do? I mean, you've all mentioned things that have changed, ingredients you can't use, things you can't put in trucks, rules that have changed. How much do you have to bring customers along and help them understand that maybe what you used to be able to do, you can't, or?
It's basically the whole game. First of all, if and this goes way back to one of the things, I had a list of about 4 or 5 things I'd still go in this business for the same 4 or 5 things, by the way.
What are they?
But one of them is you had to have an evangelical zeal to educate.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going way back, to 1960. That was one of the attractions, that I could sit with people and educate them to go, and therefore grow clients. And so that still exists today, probably more than ever.
Yeah, there's a big uptick in education. You have to, because a lot of clients, I mean, you can buy insurance, and then if something happens and something's not covered, then you've paid premium for no reason. So, I mean, we inherit a lot of other stuff from agents that we've had to revamp, overhaul, fill in the holes. And if the client doesn't want to do it, it's all about documentation at that point. And now that they realize you're documenting it, now maybe you better look at that. So that's kind of where we are on that.
So if they don't think they can slip through the cracks,
Yeah. All of a sudden you're documenting it, so now maybe we better see about filling that hole or filling that gap.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, education is a big part of it. Educating my employees about what they can do and can't do, and the customers.
how do you do that?
It's just talking to them, basically, just introducing them to everything. Luckily, a lot of my employees have been there a long time, so they're pretty much catching up when I'm catching up on different things. But the customers is a big part of it. Educating them on our product, why are we what we are, and what makes us better than everybody else. Just being able to talk to the customer, whether it's on the phone, face to face, come in, touch and feel, check it all out. It's all about educating.
I solidly agree. I mean, starting with what is a buying group and how does that benefit our store and our clients, to how we operate our business with our employees, and how long our installers have been with us, and what kind of materials they use. People don't understand a lot of that stuff because it all happens behind the scenes. If you don't educate them and tell them how this fiber will wear better than this fiber in their home, or give them the right things that they can put in so that it will last and their expectations will be fulfilled, then you're just out of luck. They're not going to come back.
What kind of changes have you seen in your customers generationally? And I ask this because there's been a lot of stories about younger consumers will go online and become instant experts and then come to you and say, this is what I want, even though that may not be what they want. But have you noticed, are customers now what they were when you got into the business, or how has that changed?
No, it's changed, especially in my business. I would think probably. You'll have a customer come in thinking that they're the expert on it, and they might know a lot, which can be good for me because there's no secrets for us. We're showing the best, so I want them to know, so I can say, yeah, it's right there. So for us, it's actually been a benefit. I would definitely say them coming in, it takes a lot of the work out. With that said, sometimes they're not totally informed on certain things, like you were mentioning behind the scenes, and that's all our salesmen and our employees' jobs to inform them. Yeah, so I think it's helped. I really do. I think it's helped in the long run for us.
It's got to be a little different, I would think, in your line of business. People, I would think, do not come in the door as experts on benefits or insurance.
No, typically not. Although in the personal lines area, a lot of them do go online and they'll try to quote stuff up, and there's a lot of engines out there that do quoting.
Right.
At the end of the day, typically our clientele is not the ones that are going to go to a mail order house for insurance. They're coming to us because we're checking what they have. We also have a lot of markets. We're independent agents, so we can shop on behalf of the client. That's what we do. We like to say that we're the bid process. So that's what we do in the personal lines department, commercial and employee benefits. In the personal lines department, our high net worth individuals, there's only a few insurance carriers now left in the marketplace that really cater to those high-end people and making sure that certain things are covered for them. And so that's usually done face-to-face or over the phone. It's not usually an email, so on those guys. So yeah, so we do get that online quoting, and then they'll probably they'll come to us. You can quote Mercury online, then they assign you to an agent if you want. So it can be that simple. It happens.
How has technology changed your business?
Flooring is a little bit backwards when it comes to the technology that's
So
at
not
use in
enough,
it.
is it?
Not enough yet.
Okay.
It's kind of, we're beginning that revolution now where a lot of
What would that
there's
look
so
like?
many different setups in flooring stores. You can be one guy who does all the measuring and all the installing by himself. You can be all the way up to a corporation where you have many employees who measure, many employees who order, accountants who are dedicated with all the financing. You have warehouse people all separated in different functions, and it's very difficult to build a one-size-fits-all software system to kind of handle it all and to perform in the way those different businesses would expect. And so there have only been a couple solutions for decades. I mean, in fact, most of what
Actually
people are
designed for your
using
industry.
were designed in DOS and have been converted to Windows, but still have that,
DOS.
it's horrible basis. And so it's kind of sad to say, but I mean, the way that we have figured it, it really, for us, revolves around the expertise of the employee who is measuring, who's doing estimating. Their expertise is what drives it. There are a lot of tools now. I mean, we measure with a laser instead of having to run a tape. It's twice as fast. You know, I mean, there are things like that are fantastic, but it's coming in the next 5 years or maybe the next 10 at the most. It will all happen on tablets. It will all be figured. The estimator won't have to know as much because figuring things like carpet where it comes in sheet goods
Imagine I'll be
is
able
a
to look
difficult
at
mental
exactly
gymnastic.
how it'll look.
Exactly, and
Virtual
maybe,
stuff,
you know,
yeah.
there are already ways that you can take a photo, put it online, take a carpet, put it in the photo, see how it will look. There are things that have changed that are wonderful. The rest is coming. We're excited for
So the
those
back
changes.
office is lagging.
The back office type technology is tough in
How
our industry still.
How
It's
about the
coming.
furniture business?
Yes, I would, very similar. There is technology for us, for the customer. You know, we're actually in the process of installing some right now where we'll have televisions above different sofas where the customer can actually dress the sofa right then, there, and see what it's gonna look like. So that's kind of neat. It's kind of exciting for us. You know, we'll have the samples there too, but sometimes it's hard for somebody to, you know, picture it. So being able to do that with technology, I think, is yeah, it's gonna help. You have to adapt, right? I mean, you're constantly having to adapt. So that's part of it. So adapting to the technology and using it for yourself. Now I have salesmen that will walk around with their tablet. You know, before they're walking around with a book. You know, so but we still have both. You know, I mean, so you have to adapt.
I've got a question that I think maybe applies to Jeff and Ben more than you guys, because you sort of started the company together. How are you constant? How much are you aware of the legacy of your company, and you know, being the
Inheritors.
person, the inheritors that keeps it going, doesn't screw it up, you know what I'm saying? I always wondered, when I was in a family business, about that. That's a tremendous amount of pressure, I would think.
Yeah.
Can you sort of talk about that? And you guys can talk about it too, it's maybe a little bit different.
It's a permanent weight. You carry it all the time?
Absolutely. Even when I was a child. Yeah, even when I was a child, because I always said I wanted to work there, I wanted to take over. So, I mean, weight or whatever it is, but it's on my mind at all times. You know, I have customers come in and say, I bought from your dad, 35 years ago, constantly, things like that.
So is there a little bit of I better not screw this up?
Oh, I think that's what motivates a lot of people, right? I better not screw this up.
Probably in any job. whether
Yeah,
it's
any
family
job,
or-
I mean, if you didn't have that, I'd
Sure.
be a little worried.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I'm reminded all the time, all the time.
My father came from an accounting field. He opened the internal audit department for Disney. So he was big into honesty. He had a great business acumen before he came. So he set things up in a flooring company that are very different than you would normally see in a flooring company. There's a lot of
More rigorous.
Yeah, different techniques, different ways to educate, different ways to set it up, so that things like making your installers buy their supplies from you, so you know what they're using. It's not something the normal store would set up. It's a function as an auditor he would look at to ensure that the quality was there. And so, being my father's son, he taught me a lot of those values, and a lot of them are interpersonal. And so when we deal with people and we put our name on the line and we say we're going to take care of you, that's what it means. And I mean, in contracting, very little, you know, we have plans of how things are gonna go, and very seldomly do we find exactly what we expect to find underneath people's floors.
Right.
You run into things all the time where they're different, and I think you have to have this sense of the legacy where you're coming from, the sense of fairness for, you know, these are customers who've been here. I mean, we've done customers 4 times, you know, and they keep coming back because they like
And
how
it's not
we do
because the
business.
floors are wearing out fast.
No, in many
Over the
cases,
course
they're
of
just sick of them.
decades.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, we have people who come in and, hey,
Yes.
it's been 25 years
Right,
and
it's time.
this, you know, plaid carpet
Yes.
or this orange shag is done.
Yes.
You know, but I've had people approach me and talk to me about how my dad dealt with them. Your dad, when I was just starting out and I didn't have money, did this for next to nothing and just helped me. You know, and those kinds of things that our parents, I'm sure, did all the time, here and there, whenever they could help. It's kind of the responsibility of a local business. You know, we have people come in that don't have money, that their dogs have ruined their floors and their health issues because they can't, but they don't have money to replace it. And is there anything we can do? Those things crop up, and it's kind of a stewardship. It's a custodianship of what our parents have built to make sure that we take care of people whenever we can. And I mean, it's when my dad left, I think I felt that much more keenly because
Now it's you.
when he was there, regardless, didn't matter what happened, I would do the best I could. But if the chips fell south, if everything went south and things went wrong, he was there. He could make it all right and take care of things to a certain extent. The minute he left, I was that guy. There was no backstop. I was the backstop, and it changes every time you get into a conversation and something has gone wrong, and it's time to find a way to meet in the middle, to be fair, be just with a person. You just have to make sure that you honor how it's been the entire time and behave in the same manner. And that way people always know what to expect from your company. It's never a surprise. You know, your dad dealt generous with me. I know that that's the way you're going to be. And people make that assumption a lot, and I have to prove them correct. They're big shoes to fill.
Any thoughts on what you just heard?
Well, with us, a little different there. Again, it's a lot of the experience I had with succession plans and why they work and why they don't work. So with us, when it was time, and that time came, I just pushed it away, walked away.
Is that why they sometimes don't work? That someone says I want to walk away, but
I'll
they
tell you, I've
can't?
done some of the greatest plans on paper and tax-wise you can't imagine. And when I go in and find out why it's not happening, and all of a sudden, when I'm happen to be walking away with the son, he says, "Can you tell me to get out of here?" He's never
Yeah, he won't leave.
won't leave me alone.
Yeah.
So the one thing I've done is I've really let Mitzi run her business.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is
thank
that
God
Mitzi? Is that true?
Yes. I pretty much ran LBW.
And was that the way it was with both your dads? That when they stepped aside, they stepped aside?
No,
Not really.
no. My dad's still very much involved.
Okay.
And I love it. I love it. So I've had a different experience than I guess hearing from you guys, others. I very much enjoy working with him. I don't have a negative anything to say about it, you know. Yeah, you get your typical, you know, small arguments, but part of that's just being father-son, you know. It might not have anything to do with the sofa I just sold or whatever it is, you know. But I like to joke with him, you know, he puts his full half days in, you know. But I still love it. I still love it. And like I said, my sister's still there, you know. So it's a family thing that we have.
Do any of you compete against other family-owned businesses?
Yes.
I do too.
Okay.
Not many.
I
Actually.
don't.
Couple.
Have you seen some come and go? or-
Oh yeah.
Come and go, and then come back and go,
And then come back and go
and
again.
then come back and go again. A few times.
I would think it'd be, again, less common in the insurance business.
There's a few family-owned insurance agents up
Agencies,
here. We don't, I mean, everybody competes against each other, but I mean, we don't deliberately do anything different. I mean,
Sure.
we're friends with some of them.
So, when you think about how you spend your day at work, what's the thing you spend time on that you wish you didn't have to?
Paying bills. Oh, it's you know.
All right.
Definitely.
For me, it's interruptions. our business is built on that because it's such a customer service model. We're doing, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 jobs a day, and
Things pop up.
there's things popping up at all those. Plus, you have customers who assume you're in the store all the time, who just drop by without appointments. So you can't plan for those things. They just happen all day. And so, we spend a lot of time taking care of customers that have come in so that we can be ready to do a job. And then when jobs are going, we get calls from installers, hey, we have a problem, the material's not the right color, this is wrong. We found something underneath, can you come look at it? And a lot of that
There's no
is
such thing as
just,
a train of thought.
no, and then once you're interrupted, it takes a few minutes to get back to where you were. And so I find myself many days, it's 3 PM and I'm starting to work on what I meant to start the day with that day. And it's just part and parcel of the whole thing, and I thrive on the differences in the day. It's not as predictable, it doesn't get boring.
Right.
So
Mitzi? What do you spend time on that you wish you didn't have to?
Babysitting the staff.
amen.
It's the revolving door, like what he's saying. I feel like people come in and don't you feel like they put stickums on you the whole time? Just stickums, yeah.
Yeah.
So I always have that feeling when people are coming in to bother me. But I would say that's a big deal, is to make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, or following up with somebody that was supposed to do something. So there's all this babysitting that takes place. So if everybody would just throw at me with their work done in a timely manner, we'd be good.
Don, what do you miss the least about your career?
Miss the least?
Yeah, and then what do you miss the most?
I don't miss least or most.
Yeah.
I got clients all the time that ask me, when I'm going to retire. And I just look at them and I say, gee, I don't know, gee, this is a great building and we're having great conversations with some great people, and you know how much money they're paying me to do this? So, so I don't have that kind of thing. I don't know what I've got to retire from on this. Right now, that's all I really do is manage money, so it's not bad. So, I kind of enjoy the research and doing it, the due diligence in doing it, and interacting with the clients, and doing the quarterly reviews or whatever they are, and working with people. And, that's...
It sounds like working with people is
That's good.
Well, it's all
what keeps all of
relationship.
you.
It's all relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Can I add something to what you said? Because when you asked, did they leave when they were supposed to leave, I kind of said no. The economy crashed right as my dad was planning on leaving, and he stayed both for his benefit and for mine, and it worked fantastically. But I think people who build these kind of businesses from the ground up, they're children to them. I mean, they have nurtured.
Oh, yeah.
I can't tell you how many 10 or 12-hour days we have put in nurturing these, but having done it from inception in a business, it's very difficult.
And
And I
going the
watched,
distance.
I watched my father struggle. He couldn't walk away. It was too hard. There were friends and relationships, and he still sends people flowers on their birthdays at the store and does things that are just amazing, but it's very difficult because it's so wonderful.
What you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's relationships.
Right. You wouldn't keep doing it if you didn't enjoy
Well,
it.
of course.
Right.
Yeah, I know how to retire. I mean, I know what to do. I can,
Sure.
but
Don't want to.
yeah, I don't see what I got to retire from.
Yeah. It's kind of in our blood too, I think. I mean,
Sure.
I remember my grandfather saying to my dad, "Why?" When he asked him if he wanted to retire. I said, "Why?" And this is what I do. So it's the same feeling.
No, it's interesting. We have 2 grandchildren now working with us, but both of them got out of college. Went in 4 years, by the way. Both of them.
Okay.
4 years, and got out of college, went to work. In some big corporations, and after that, and they earned, frankly, I thought a lot of money. I mean, I thought they earned a whole lot of money, and yet they showed up and they wanted to be part of the business. They took salary cuts, and one of them married and everything, and all that, the house and all that, still did this, and they're both doing extremely well.
Do you think that, what do you think your business, would your business be any different if it wasn't in Santa Clarita? You ever thought about that?
Well, we have had our business outside of Santa Clarita up until, we moved up here about 16 years ago. 15?
2014. Oh, excuse me, 2004.
Yeah, okay.
What was the difference? What was
Well, first of all, Santa Clarita itself, and by the way, I would have said this even if it's at the end, whether we're filming it or not, I don't care. But there are two things, but one thing particularly
I
really
believe you.
stands, one thing that particularly stands out in my mind, I have never lived in a place that gives so much as the people that I come in contact with in Santa Clarita. And I mean, I come from a background, a family and a background that, you know, right away that, you know, we are Jewish, and right away, you know, we have to give to the synagogues and give to the center, the Jewish community centers, things like this. So we're built on a word called tzedakah, which is really charity. And I know that. But this place is really something else. I have just never seen anything like it. And it's just terrific. I mean, you got, guys up here, you got probably the best hospital. And everything, and the college you got, my God. Sometimes I just sit and think about the college. It's just, Diane's done terrific, but I've never seen a community like this, never.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah. I don't remember what your question was, but I was so involved listening to what he
Would
said.
your business be any different if it wasn't here?
You know, I've,
Say you were down in
right.
Reseda.
Yeah, I'm sure it would. I mean, for us, it's trends, right, out here. Santa Clara is very traditional community, right? We've already kind of talked about that. So a lot of that has to play in with the type of furniture they buy, also. So when I go out and go to North Carolina to do the buying, I have to keep that in mind, because some of these trends that I'll walk through a showroom and I'm looking at it going, well, that's not going to work where I live. I like it; it's really nice looking, but it's not going to sell. So yeah, I think to that aspect, absolutely. I see, I know some people that have places down in Laguna Beach and things like that, and I see what they're buying, and it's completely different than what I would buy. So yeah, I think it would be a huge difference.
Yeah. Both style, color,
Yeah.
and also quality.
Yes.
There aren't a lot of valleys where people care as much about quality and having it done right as there are here in Santa Clarita. And that, I think, is why our business has flourished here, is because that's all we cared about in the beginning. And that continuing just serves people and what they want. They want quality. They want it to last a long time. They want it to be done right. And I don't think you have those same expectations in all areas. So it's nice to be in a community where that's important and our work is valued.
Is there anything we have not touched on that you'd want to share with the business community of the Valley?
I would just say one thing. When you have sessions like this, invariably there tends to be an emphasis on, like, the first thing is, what about regulations? And what about taxes?
Right.
That's
And
not
what
what it's
about
about.
employees? And what about this and that, the whole thing? But you know something? I think if I went around the room, what I heard is you're having a terrific time, and you're having a terrific time, and we're having one hell of a time. See? And we've done it through all of this. And we've done it through all this Obamacare, we've done it through all the taxes and all the regulations, and we wouldn't trade it for anything else.
Right.
So I just like to bring everybody's attention that we're all doing pretty good.
Yep.
And then the other thing would have been about just this, Peterson, who I've known for maybe 35 years, 40 years, he came to see us when we were here 2 weeks. And he knew we were moving here. And, Pete, he came to see us. And he just sat down in my office and wanted to, which, by the way, is just a small office like everybody else's. And I just wanted me to know how happy he was I was up here in Santa Clarita, how much I would enjoy it. And we talked for about 20 minutes, and as a good old Pete, and just when he left, he said, "Here, you ought to take a look at this." And he just left me a brochure for the hospital.
Yeah.
Planting a seed.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, and of course, Mitzi and I were kind of used to something like this. So we sat down and talked about it, so we took care of what we had to take care of, And, but of course, as I said, that turned out to be, everybody's doing it, man, so you just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So that's, so I just like to point out that whatever, all the trials and tribulations, and yeah, there are better states that you might have less regulations and less taxes.
They got their own.
You don't
Yeah.
wanna live there either.
Right.
No, you're,
Yeah.
Clarita,
Yeah.
you just hit it on the nose right
Yeah,
there.
you know,
It's like,
come on, this is
any
the top
of us
5%
don't
sitting
have
in the
to be
room.
here if we don't want to be.
That's right.
But, you know what,
Yep.
California,
I wouldn't trade it.
I've lived in 5 other states,
Yeah.
Midwest, East Coast. No, I have no desire to go back to any of them, not that they're bad places, but this is,
Yeah, this is home.
And the general flow continues to be in this
this is
direction.
home.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, touching on real quick, I know we talked about relationships and things, but that is one of my favorite things, going to the store and having somebody come in and tell us a story about my dad or about where our building is. I had a guy just recently came in and he was an old timer and came in and told us that he used to fish across the street. Apparently there used to be a creek
Okay?
across
When it
the street
overflows, yeah,
when
that-
it overflows, and he used
Yeah.
to catch rainbow trout. And he said he used to ride his horse from Saugus down there with his brother, and he would camp there. And I thought that was just the coolest story, and talking to all the guys in New
That
Home
is
there.
That's
and-
not
funny.
all that
Yeah.
rare a story. I mean, because this
No,
place,
I hear that kind of stuff all the time.
Not that old.
It's great, yeah.
Well, I think on that note, Jason, anything else you want to?
Nope.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Been terrific.
Thank you.
Yeah.